How yeah, and welcome to episode 11 of the Temple Bard podcast with me, Jim Wynn, and Philip Noon. It's the Celtic Tiger, baby. Well, Philip, the Celtic Tiger, what is it?
The Celtic Tiger was when a carpenter had more money than the tea shop.
Jesus could only dream of such a day.
What any trade you were in, you were absolutely minted. And you know what? Listen, it's kind of got back. It's almost back at those levels, I think now, because with this boom now, like house prices are mental again, and crazy. The boom is back. You know, they say, the boom is back, baby.
I don't think there's as many people that are getting as wealthy now because the cost of living is so expensive.
Well, the cost of living, and you know what it is? I think we learned the first time round.
Yeah.
I think we learned our lesson the first time round. The first time round, we went from, like, if you think about it, butter vouchers in the late 80s and rationing.
Yeah.
Then in the middle of the 90s, our Taoiseach at the time Charlie Haughey had an island. Do you know what I mean? Like, he had an island and no bank account. So, I mean, to go from
no Revolut either.
No Revolut. To go from that level of, you know, and I mean, it was that. People went from, like, literally.
Yeah.
People went from very little to having a helipad in their garden.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many helicopters.
Yeah. You even saw the difference, like, if you're going, I have a lot of friends that grew up in council estates, and you go through, like, and you're just seeing all the houses would get more fancier looking on the outside, all better windows, all the best stuff put in, all the best cars now outside, where it used to be everyone was on the buses, now everyone had two cars in the council house.
I finished school in 2004, and I did 1 year as an apprentice floor fitter.
Yeah.
All the boys went off to college, and I took a year out, and I said, right, I'm going to... So, I mean, like, I was, 16, 17, and all I was doing was carrying in carpets and wooden floors. I was working with a lad, great lad, and he was fitting the floors and the carpets. And I think I was on like €700 a week. And I was like 17. Yeah. I think I was on like 700, and I was living at home. Yeah. I'd no rent, I'd no bills. And I'd €700 a week at 17 years of age. Pint bottles of Bulmers were coming out my ears. Like.
Yeah. No Dutch gold for you, Philip.
Oh, it was mad. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole on Reddit a bit to get some of the Celtic Tiger stories, and there was one with just bullet points.
Right.
And it was during the Celtic Tiger. Actually, you know what? Let's explain the Celtic Tiger too, because we do have an audience kind of outside Ireland and England and America and things. So the Celtic Tiger was the Irish economy, kind of from the mid to late 90s, right up until the Lehman Brothers crash in 2007.
Had a huge, unprecedented boom.
It was mostly in construction, wasn't it?
Construction and the financial sector as well. Financial packages, the same thing that caused the Lehman Brothers crash, you know. All these new financial packages. Greed is good, all that jazz, like the fucking Wall Street and all this stuff.
Greed is good.
But it was a crazy time because Ireland in the 80s was classed as a third world country.
I know there was like rationing.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And overnight it just boomed.
Everybody had to go to England to find work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Ireland has something like 70 million more people off the island than they do on the island, you know? Like,
it's mad. The amount of people that claim Irish citizenship across the world is mad.
Yeah. Irish citizenship and Irish heritage. We went across and built the world. All the roads in America, the skyscrapers, the White House was built by an Irish fella. But go on, what were we saying?
So during this period, the banks were just firing loans at people.
Yeah.
Like, the banks went mad. The banks were firing loans at people. I was reading a thing where a guy said that he was offered a €26,000 limit on his credit card on €400 a week's wages.
Yeah. That's it, because everyone who worked in the financial institutions and banks and everything like that were incentivized to sell as many of these packages and sell all these loans, and there was no end to it. They thought that it would never. They thought it was, and I think wasn't there a fella called Greenspan, who was a famous American economist, who said that this economy could never collapse. It was one of those. This is a lovely new ship called the Titanic, and it's unsinkable.
Wasn't Greenspan the guy who sat down? Was he the guy who sat down at the end of The Big Short, and he has the?
Probably, yeah.
And he has the debate, and they're like, "Would you still buy more shares?" And he says, "Of course." And then the next thing, everybody's checking their phones, and the share price is falling and falling and falling throughout the meeting.
Well, the thing is, with a lot of these things like share prices, even when they fall to zero, that's when a lot of the really rich people have the money to buy them all up and then just wait for them not to come back up. That's the thing.
Unless you do what your man did, Hello Kitty. Do you know the GameStop lad?
No. Oh, there was something. I remember the GameStop thing during the COVID.
Yeah, so what the GameStop lad did was he called himself Hello Kitty. When the GameStop share price fell to $3,
Yeah.
he bought loads of it. And then he went online and convinced everybody on the internet to buy GameStop.
Yeah.
And then it sent the share up, so everybody who had bought short positions, as the stock went up, it was actually going to crash.
Yeah.
They're
I
like
remember them saying, all the people who were like, it's manipulation. They were saying like it's stock manipulation. All these politicians who own stock that they passed the laws for were saying you can't do that now.
We should have removed the buy button on Robinhood. Like,
Yeah.
It
just shows you. It just shows you.
It does.
It's who you know, Philip.
I was reading this. There was a lad. I went down the rabbit hole on Reddit with this, and people were putting in their favorite Celtic Tiger stories. Yeah. He said the best thing happened to my friend. He went into the bank to get a loan of 20,000.
Yeah.
And the bank said, "Why don't you?" They were like 20. Why don't you take 60? So he took 60, and he spent every penny of it. And to this day, in 2024, he's still paying it back.
No way. That's crazy. Yeah, is there no what they call Chapter 6 in America, the bankruptcy? That's like Donald Trump's done it loads of times. All their billionaires do it. They play with someone else's money, and then when it goes tits up, they just claim bankruptcy, and all their debts are forgiven.
I'm sure.
I think I've heard that the only thing that's not forgiven is student loan debt.
That's very nice of them, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Jesus.
Like in America, you have to go to get a decent college. You could be paying $100,000 and you'd be paying it back. I saw a comedian I've never seen before today on Facebook. He was like I don't know, 80 or 90 years of age. He was funny, but his first joke was, "I just finished paying my student debt off."
Well, you grew up in Dublin during the boom, right? You were in Dublin, but I was in small town Ireland, right? And just when I was reading this is so true to life. It's insane. So these were bullet points on the Celtic Tiger.
Yeah.
So all of the nightclubs in the small towns were open Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, without fail. Even if these small towns didn't have like a university or like a college, because like some of the towns, like Sligo is a big college town, Athlone a big college town, Carlow is a big, Waterford. These are like big college towns, right? And then of course you've got the Limerick, Cork, Galway, Dublin. You've got those, you know, but the college towns would always have nightclubs open. But I mean like Cavan and Leitrim and like, you know, places without big college kind of populations.
Yeah. Just for anyone, just for all the working man to.
Oh, like so the nightclubs were open. The banks would have people standing on college campuses trying to get students to sign up for credit cards. Do you remember the AIB ad? And it was a student lying to the guy, and he was like, I need it for my third year, and in brackets it's like for a trip for the lads to Amsterdam.
Yes, I do remember that.
And the girl is like, I need it for train tracks, and in brackets it's like, saw these new pair of shoes. You know what I mean? And it's like the banks were basically saying. Then the manager comes on and he goes, "It's okay. We're gonna give you the money because when you make it, so will we."
Yeah.
And like, it was basically say, "Come in and tell us any lie you want, and we're gonna give you cash.
We'll sign you up, no problem." Yeah, I remember getting like in the post, I'd get like credit card things like that say that you're
like Coca-Cola credit card.
You're pre-approved for $20,000, and I had. Well, during the Celtic Tiger, I probably wasn't even working.
It's mad. Like, everybody, it says here, everybody was encouraged to buy a second property. Yeah. Like, so the amount of Bulgarian apartments, like the amount of people have apartments in Bulgaria and Spain
Lanzarote.
And Portugal, Lanzarote. Like, I remember Eddie Hobbs talking, and he was saying, I was talking to a lad the other day, and he bought an apartment in Christchurch. Yeah. And he said, as I spoke to him, I thought he meant Christchurch in Dublin. He meant New Zealand.
Why not?
So I actually didn't get chatting about this last week. Your mum was talking about the Ross O'Carroll Kelly author.
Right.
So he was on last week. Did I speak about this last week? I was
I don't
telling
think
you
so.
about
No,
it,
you
but I don't
told me.
think it
You
was
told me about. I'd never heard. I'd heard the name before, but I didn't know what it was. It's a book. It's a book. A series of books,
a series of books based on a South County Dublin,
like a D4.
like a Dublin 4 parody, I suppose. And
Which
this
is,
guy,
for anyone that's not from Ireland, it's like a posh version. There's several schools that would be like
rugby schools,
rugby
and-
schools and stuff. Like it's a yeah.
So
it's a thing.
this Paul Howard guy, I heard an amazing interview with him the other day, and I was just I'd love to have him on here just to talk about this. So he's retiring the Ross O'Carroll Kelly character in book form, in novel form, but he's going to keep him on in his column in the paper. Right. And he was saying that he's from Ballybrack, and he noticed the Celtic Tiger when he went into his neighbours in a council estate in Ballybrack, and there was 6 of them in a hot tub. And he was like, this isn't the family that are going to be in a hot tub. Like.
Margaret.
But no, do you know what I mean? It was just mad. And he said he got on the dart one Sunday morning, and this is where the Ross O'Carroll Kelly character came from. He got on the dart one Sunday morning, it was fucking jammers, it was wedged. Yeah. But the very last carriage was empty. There was 6 lads sitting in it. So he was like, right, grand. So he went down to the very back and tried to get into the carriage, and some guy put his hand in his chest and he said, sorry, mate, this is a rock-only carriage. So that's Blackrock College for anybody who doesn't know. This is a rock-only carriage.
The fucking notions.
So he was like, no way, this can't be real. So he went into the Irish Times. He developed this character, Ross O'Carroll Kelly, but at the time he was covering underage rugby matches. Right. And there was one match that Blackrock College were playing in, and he was covering it for the paper, and he got the try scorer's name wrong.
Right.
He was called into the office by his editor, and they got a solicitor's letter because he got the kid's name wrong that scored the try. So basically, Mammy or Daddy was a solicitor and wrote a solicitor's letter. Yeah. So he said to the editor, he was like, is this for real? The editor was like, this is what you're dealing with. Like, this is it. He's like, these kids are told the leaving cert doesn't matter. Rugby is what matters.
Yeah.
So anyway, he developed his character, Ross O'Carroll Kelly, and it became so big that his audience became predominantly Dublin 4 people. Because they could relate to this character so much. So much so that Blackrock College invited him over to the school to give the team their pep talk before their game against Colongo's Wood, to give the team as Ross O'Carroll Kelly, give them the pep talk. So when he landed down, there was a kid from Willow Park, which is the junior school, waiting for him at the gate to walk him up. The kid's 13 and turned to him and said, you know, this must be a pretty big deal. This must be a pretty big deal for you. Jonah Lumu did this 2 years ago. I thought that was class.
Well, Philip, I could have been one of these guys.
Really, yeah.
Because Celtic Tiger, speaking of,
yes.
When I was growing up, up to the age about 10, 11, I think it was, we lived in what you'd call a regular middle class housing estate, 3-bedroom house. The Celtic Tiger hit.
And your dad had a very good job in relation to the Celtic Tiger, of course.
My dad is an accountant, so he's in the financial sector, and he worked for several companies and stuff. So he ended up doing well. The Celtic Tiger took off. So he gets hires an architect, builds a house on the side of a hill.
Lovely.
Like goes through it like his dream house on the side of the hill on six acres of land, and takes us out of our primary school, our public school, and sends us to private school. One of these schools. Will I name it? No, I won't name it. I might name it. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see as we go.
But it was a Blackrock.
It was one of them. It wasn't Blackrock, but it was one of them.
It was one of those.
It was one of them. Yeah.
One of the rugby schools.
One of the rugby schools.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Right in the heart of Donnybrook, so you can put the mats together yourself.
Good stuff.
But so he took us out of our public school, sent us there, moved us up to the side of a hill, and it's actually funny because it's one of his biggest regrets. Because when we were living up there, first of all, you had to cut the grass for 6 acres all the time. We were too far away from our friends. We had to get dropped everywhere and pulled and everything. And we went to this school, and we were there 2 years, and I got expelled.
What did you do?
All sorts of different things. We were little messers. Me and 3 other friends. 3 of us got expelled.
Where were you from originally?
Was it?
What was the name of the place you were from originally? Like, where were you from originally?
The school?
No, the very first house.
Oh, Crinkle Glen.
So, like, you could take the kid out of Creek and Glen.
Yeah. Well, no, Creek and Glen's is a
know,
very
it's
nice
isn't
estate.
it?
It's down here. Like it's
I don't know where it is.
it's a very middle class. It's a middle class. It's like a regular housing estate. It's not like it's one rung maybe up above a council estate.
So were you like problem child in this school? You know, we
Well, before in my old school I wasn't,
right.
but in this new school I was, and there was a few. You could see there was a few people who were like not from the same old families in the school around that time. I think they got an influx because of the Celtic Tiger.
Right.
But so there was things like I think I mentioned on the podcast before. We were talking about abortion. Now this was back in 1991 or 2. It was illegal and all this. And I was 10 years of age, asking about like what if a woman's raped and all this. And they had a meeting about me for that.
Jesus.
But also we used to organise fights outside after the end of school, and we had like 3 of us there was a shop that sold like sweets and all, and everyone had to take turns going on the till, like a tuck shop they'd call it. And every time we were on there, we'd like someone would give us 20 pence, and we'd give them all a load of sweets and €20 change, £20 sterling change. we run the little thing, and then we were drinking in school as well. We were only 11 or 12. We were bringing in drink, and
No way.
and one of the lads was bringing in hash from his dad and all this.
12 years of age.
Yeah. It's a different time. There was no internet, you see, so you had to start off earlier on. But eventually, like, they suspended us for having too short a haircut and all. It was just a lot of people learn from the Celtic Tiger, but what my dad learned as well is just because you think that something you strive for is better, you can soon find out that it's not. Like having your dream house, I'm air quoting, is not necessarily a dream. The grass is not always greener. So he would tell you now that he'd never would have taken me out of the school I was in, and it could have been a completely different life. But if I had stayed in that school that I got expelled from, I could have been one of these Rosso Carroll Kelly fellas.
That's mad.
Isn't it?
Do you know something, just when you said something there, like a lot of people probably won't be able to relate to this, but maybe a lot will. Do you remember hash back in the 90s? Like,
yeah.
So
it was 70% plastic.
I would have had friends who would have smoked a lot of like kind of hash when we were like, I was never really big into smoking because it was just one thing I was never really big into. But everybody seemed to smoke hash. And for my leaving cert, I got an A2 in honours art. And I got it, my art history was always good, but I was shite at drawing and I was shite at like clay and pottery and stuff.
Right.
But there was one lad, I'm not going to name him, and he smoked a lot of hash.
Yeah.
And I bought him, I think it was like €40, so it could have been like a Q or something of hash.
Quarter,
How much would it be?
Would have been
like
a quarter,
probably
yeah,
a quarter hash or something. It was like €40. And I gave him that. And he did my pottery for leaving cert, and he did my life drawing as well.
Yeah?
We were in the room.
And he did.
And he literally handed his page across to me and did a really quick life drawing. Now, it wasn't as good as his, obviously.
Yeah.
He did it in like 20 minutes, and I did all the shading on my own.
Yeah.
But he literally did the life drawing outline and everything for me, with me sitting beside him with his blank page.
The leaving cert.
In leaving cert. And the examiner sitting there, like, so he literally just switched it across. The examiner didn't pass any remarks on what was going on. I was just sitting there like this, just doing the outline in my hands.
Yeah, yeah.
And he did the whole outline for me, and I just had to do the shading after it. And I got an A2.
Deadly. Fair play. That was well worth the quarter.
That's what hash got me back in the day. But that was, if you think about that, like that time, you had dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Oh, shocking.
You had chat rooms instead of no social media. There was
Chat rooms were unbelievable.
You'd be-
I remember falling in
Do you
love.
remember ASL? Question mark.
ASL,
Age, sex, location.
14 MIRE.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
I remember one time, so like obviously my first ever email address was verysexy14@hotmail.com.
It's a honey trap for the pedos, Philip.
Verysexy14@hotmail.com, right?
You should have said hotmail@hotmail.com. So like someone must have got that early.
But I remember chatting to this girl, air quotes, girl
Yeah.
of the same age in a chat room.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with her. Like her name was something like Flirty Pepsi.
Yeah.
Something, and I remember
Hello, Kitty.
and she was from like Missouri, and like we were chatting for weeks, and eventually like my dad was like, how do you know you're talking to a girl? And I was like, what? He's like, how do you know you're talking to a girl? I was like, because I've been talking to her for weeks. Like, this is how naive we were back in, okay, I was 14, but this is the dawn of the internet.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was going to be maybe a 50-year-old man on the other end of
Catfish
it.
revolution. Your man out of South Park when they're all playing the game with the carpal tunnel thing when they're all playing the game and he kills them all. You know, you're not just sitting there, just going, yes, Philip. send me a 2-pixel picture of your penis, please.
But this is what I mean. This is before camera phones.
Yeah, no, there was no even cameras on the computer.
But like there wasn't even. I don't even know if there was. I think it was the beginning of digital cameras. So I mean, you couldn't ask someone for a picture.
It was the age of disposable cameras. Remember?
It was the age of disposable, of course. Yeah. You'd have to throw them in and get them developed.
Yeah, disposable cameras. All the girls that we used to hang around with used to bring disposable cameras everywhere we went. I remember, in the chat rooms, I remember talking to someone and, having a fucking, as a young man will do, you have a little shuffle with yourself. And I think one girl turned around after a while and said, I'm actually a dude or something like that. And I was like, does that make me gay? Or bi-curious?
You just write back, shh, I'm nearly finished.
yeah. Keep it down, Mick, will you?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, but it was so. This is. I suppose this was all. I know it's retro and nostalgic now, but this was very real. Like,
and I think this, like everything, like now, the TikTok, the AI, what we see now is going to be as outdated as that. Probably even quicker than this has been outdated.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. So I remember I had a Trivium phone and I had a Samsung flip phone that only had enough for 2 lines.
Yeah.
So you'd have to do some massive pressing the buttons down to try and read a whole text message.
Yeah.
And most of them I think were only weren't most text messages 30 characters or 40 characters? And that's where the dawn of text speak came in. So that's when everything became
I thought it was more that because it took so long to write a text message because you have to press the button 4 times at the start. Remember, they didn't have predictive text messaging.
Yeah.
So you'd have to press 3-5 times to get an O, and then so people started doing that, I think. That's how I remember it.
That would actually make sense as well. But I remember you only had 30 characters.
Yeah.
I remember or if not, because if you went above that, you'd have to send 2 text messages. Yeah. And that'd cost you double the money.
It would cost you a fortune. Now texting's free.
And this was and then O2 came in and revolutionised everything.
Yeah.
ESAT Digiphone went away. Were they Aircom? Were they Vodafone, ESAT, Digiphone? Anyway.
I remember having a job selling Aircom landlines door to door. I did it for one day. They put me in a suit that was too big. Well, I had a suit that was too big for me. They set me in the middle of fucking, I don't know where it was.
Was this during the Celtic Tigers?
Yeah, would have been. It was when my son Jamie was only a baby. So he was only less than a year old. So that would have been 2004.
Oh yeah, that's peak.
Yeah.
Celtic Tigers.
So they sent us, me and some other fella, and we had to go to an office and do our sales pitch to each other,
right?
And all. And then your man was like a fucking, man, I got this. We're gonna hit these targets and give me all this. They dropped us in the middle of Finglas or somewhere to a council estate. All these young kids on bikes running after us, going, "Are you fucking Jehovah's Witnesses?" And I was like, yeah. I did that. I did one full. I did one full day. Didn't get any sales. Never went back.
Oh, so when that's mad. I did something similar, but not. So I saw this ad in a paper, and it was you can make so much money, so much per month. Do you want to make an extra 500 to 3,000 a month? I was like, yeah. So I got on the phone to this number, and it was this guy selling these. Do you remember the catalogs? They were called Clean Ease or Clean Easy, and they dropped them round to your house, and I'm 16.
Yeah.
And they drop them around to your house, and it's a catalogue, and you fill in whatever you want on the thing, and you leave it outside your house, and then they come and collect it, and they bring it away, and then they come back and they give you the money and they give you the stuff.
Yeah, they're still there. I got one of them in my door before last Christmas.
No way. Yeah. They're still doing it, are they?
Yeah,
I thought
I'm sure
the
you
internet,
order online now, but
that's what I mean. I thought the internet would have finished all that, but it was done back in the day by hand or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember you had to pay for all the catalogues of your man, and then you worked as an agent for him.
Yeah. Subcontractor. So
I spent €250 or something on all these catalogues. Brought them out once, went back, collect them all. I think one person got an order, and I was like, I'm after doing that for a $7.99 kitchen kitchen fucking thing for the sink, like a little sieve or something. That's all they ordered. And I was like, off that I'll make about like €1.30 profit.
Yeah. For all that work.
That's after taking me an afternoon. I didn't have a car. Boys were like flying around the car, banging theirs out. Like, I didn't have a car, and I was like, no, I'm never doing that ever again.
Yeah. The first chink in being definitely not getting a real job, Philip.
Oh, so the first job I ever had, was during the Celtic Tiger, and it was in a factory in Cavan called McCarran's, and it was in the factory shop. And I went in that morning, and I really needed this job because there was a guitar pedal that I wanted to buy, and we had a really shite band at the time called Sparrow Feet.
Right.
And I was like, right, I need this guitar pedal, so I'm going to get a job. So I got this job. Went in, and on the first morning, I was making $4.65 an hour or something, right? Yeah. This was like at the time, I don't even think it was minimum wage because this was my argument.
I don't think there was a minimum wage at that time.
Actually, that would probably make sense.
I don't think there was. I think that only came in around the time of the collapse, maybe.
Oh, really?
Or just before.
Well, anyway, this morning I went in, and I was working in the deli part of the factory. It was the factory shop where you went in and bought your sausages, rashers. Everything was made fresh in the factory, brought over. Everything was, we had it all laid out in a serve over. It was lovely. Yeah. So essentially, like I was like a mini butcher, but that was grand.
Funny, my first job was butcher as well.
How long did yours last?
I did it in 2 different places. Neither of them lasted more than a month or 2.
Right, well, where'd you hear this? So on my first morning in there, I'm like, right, sausage rashers, grand. The first thing, I got in trouble for slicing the ham too thick. Yeah. People were coming in, and I was giving them slices of ham that were too thick, and apparently that made it heavier, and then they had to pay more, and they were like, all right, because people were being to be like, oh, can we have 3 slices of, whatever. And I'd be like, yeah, sound. And I was doing it too thick. So the 3 normal slices that had cost them a couple of euro were costing like 6 or 7. And what's going on here?
Like,
you
asked for 3 hams.
I was giving them like half a pound of ham and 3 slices. Like, so that was the first thing I was bulled on. So I was pissed off about that. Then these 3 guys came in. They were like, I think they were from the Philippines, or they were from somewhere in the Far East, because they wanted a pig's head for a party ritual thing that was going on. It was like so I was like, right, grand, no problem. So I was expecting, right, they want a pig's head, like they've ordered it.
They wanted to throw it at Figo in the new camp.
God. So I was expecting like this pig's head to be clean, ready to go, and the whole lot. I walked over to the factory, and they were like, oh yeah, we have that for you. I was like, all right, sound. They came back and handed me a blue bag. It was still warm. It was piss and blood. It had brains and eyeballs, everything still in this pig's head. Like they straight off the body, they just threw it into the bag and just gave it to me. They didn't even clean it out.
Yeah.
So I'm walking across going like heaving going across the thing, right?
Yeah.
Handed it to these lads, and I went straight into the manager. He was a notoriously difficult man at the time. He wasn't one of the family. He was just working there at the time, this lad.
Right.
And I went into him, and I was like, sorry, mate. I was like, I'm getting paid $4.65 an hour here. You've been giving me shite about ham all morning, and now I've just had to carry a live pig's head just across from the factory. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And he goes, what's your name? And I said, Philip. And he goes, what time do you take lunch? I said, 1:30. He goes, good man, don't come back after.
Well, I remember one of them was in actually both of the butcher's things I did were in supermarkets, but one of them, he had me sacking shelves, and I was a bit of a rebellious teenager in many ways, and I remember one manager I didn't get on with, and I didn't like the way he said, and I thought he was talking about me behind me back. I can't remember if he was or not. I can't remember what the exact reason was, but I remember I went up to the cafeteria, I had all my work stuff in a bag. He was talking to 2 other managers sitting down having his lunch, and I just picked up the bag full of clothes, emptied it on his head, and goes, I quit.
You did not?
Yeah. Yeah. The other one I went.
Jeez, you were bold.
I was bold. Come here. I was a tearaway.
Jeez,
I was an awful little bollocks. I was. And then the other one was in another supermarket. We were butchers, and me and another fella, and we went. We were out for 3 days, and we went in then on the Monday morning,
right,
without a wink of sleep in 3 days. Me and another fella, and I can't remember exactly.
The smell of meat.
I think I fell asleep in the back room or something. That happened to me in another. I worked in a hospital as well where I was doing catering, and I stayed out for 3 days, and I fell asleep in the back room, and the patients missed their breakfast, and I got sacked for that as well.
No way.
Awful man for it. Yeah, I was from the age of probably having kids saved me in a lot of ways, because from the age of 16 to 20, whenever I had my first kids, I was.
You had kids quite young.
I had kids when I was 20 or 21. I think I had 2 by the time I was 21. and that at least then I'd have one weekend on, one weekend off. Like, so in a way that kind of
slowed you down.
slowed me down a bit, yeah, and gave me the peaceful weekends to, you know,
To have that
kind of
clarity.
to balance myself a bit.
Yeah.
But I was headed fast and loose down a bad path, so it saved me in a lot of ways.
That's mad.
Yeah, but we both had butcher jobs early doors.
Yeah. I'm still butchering songs.
That's what we both do for a living.
we just decided to remain butchers for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I'm making an old pig's ear of it. I did catering in a factory. Did that for a while. That was after 2000. No, and then I worked on sites. Then I did tiling, and I did labouring. So back to the Celtic Tiger. What else have you discovered in your deep dive, Philip?
So, I was looking at some of the stuff on Reddit and some of the stuff that we've been sent in. Some of it's brilliant. Please keep your Celtic Tiger stories coming in because some of them are just mad.
I feel like it's going to be a recurring theme.
So, there was the story of a lad, he knew a plasterer
Right.
who only wore suits and just went around pricing jobs.
Because you have to get a deposit.
So he used to go around just pricing
Yeah,
jobs.
I remember that, yeah.
So he had all the plasterers working for him. He was a plasterer by trade.
Yeah.
But got to the stage where he didn't have to do any plastering.
Yeah.
He was just wearing a suit going around pricing jobs. And it was like, so, right, look. So my favourite story of the Celtic Tiger is a story that I probably shouldn't tell. But I will. Two lads. And they were working all day on a house in a place called Balnamore in Leitrim. These lads will remain nameless
Right.
because of the seriousness of the story.
Okay.
So they were working on this house. It was the winter of 2005. Everybody wanted to be in their house for Christmas 2005.
Yeah.
The country was awash with cash. So the boys were out working serious hours, right, from 7 o'clock in the morning till sometimes 2 or 3 the next morning. But anyway, we got to Friday evening. And on a Friday evening during the Celtic Tiger, I mean, the pubs were banging.
Yeah.
Like everybody in Snickers playing pool for €100.
Yeah.
The jukebox had €100, €200 in it. You could just go up and put on whatever song you wanted. Pint bottles of Bulmers lined the bar, fillet steaks and chips and pepper sauce lined the bar the other side. It was nuts.
The streets were rolling in pepper sauce.
Oh,
though.
you couldn't keep pepper sauce. So the boys were after me working all day, and they landed at a pub. It was outside Ahavas in Leitrim. It was called McCaffrey's at the time. I don't know what it's called now. And the boys drank there all day. On the way home from the pub, the boys have like 10 pints in them.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be driving. They come round a corner. Bang. When the boys turns to the other fella, he says, "Boys, we're after hitting someone." Right? Your man says, "We can't stop." He says, "We have to stop." He says, oh. So they turn around and they go back. There's newspaper, spuds, messages all over the road.
Oh, fuck.
Right? The boys open the van. They're like, "You all right?" And out of the ditch comes, "Oh, some bastards after pailing me with some sort of vehicle." An old fella, right? He's about, he's maybe pushing 80, and his face is fucking busted open, blood pissing out of him, right?
Yeah.
The wing mirror of the van.
Hardy fucking chap though. Still be talking.
It was the wing mirror got him on the way around
yeah.
the corner. The wing mirror just took the sky to the side of the face of him and landed him in the ditch. Oh, a bad one. Like a real bad one. So the boys are like, "Yeah, all right, you know, and everything." And he says, "No." And this is, "We'll bring you to the hospital." He says, "Ring the guards." The boys are like, "No. The boys are like, no. We'll just bring you to the hospital." He says, no, ring the guards. This says, okay, we'll ring the guards, but we'll get you to the hospital first.
Yeah.
So the boys, I think, got rid of any evidence around the road that there was
An accident at all.
that there's anything, and brought him to the hospital, and the boys brought him in and they said that, and he was, then thankfully he was all right.
Yeah.
But in a way, you wouldn't even do that level of drink driving now.
No.
You know, you'd like, but it like there was something that everybody felt invincible about during the Celtic Tiger. You know,
Yeah.
everybody felt almost untouchable. Those people. Now, listen, the drink driving laws came very stringent, kind of 2008, 2009.
Have you ever seen the videos of?
Five Alive?
No, the videos of when they brought drink driving as a crime in first. It was in the 60s or something. And it was like, there was people, there's all these, you can see it, you can look it on YouTube. There's all these people, what do you think about this now that you're not allowed to drink alcohol when you drive the car? And he goes, it's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. I want to have me 12 pints and drive home.
But the Five Alive campaign, was if you've had four and you feel like, and you feel like you're getting intoxicated, just have one more and go home. And that's driving. If you feel yourself getting intoxicated, I swear you can YouTube that.
Yeah.
It was the Five Alive campaign. If you've had four and you feel yourself becoming intoxicated, just have one more and go home.
What a changed country.
Oh man.
Oh, a different time.
But I'm sure the boys who were involved in the thing repented for their sins. And
Well,
I'm
it's
sure
the kind of thing. It's one of those life lessons that didn't cost you too dearly that you could learn from.
yeah, lads.
Let's hope that. Well, probably the Alpha's probably moved on.
I'd say he's moved on from natural causes at this stage.
Yeah.
But took it like a
Natural
champion.
causes being a few carpenters coming down the road in the high ace.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Like, listen, everybody has done it, right? I know people are out there. Maybe 3% of the population will go.
The thing is, you'd
Well,
never
I
drink and
haven't.
drive unless you were drunk.
But this was the thing. Like, I found when I was younger, right? We used to do it.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I'd have like 3 or 4 pints and I'd do it. And sometimes, maybe once or twice in my life, I did do it when I really, really shouldn't have. Like back in the day. Now, I'd never do it now because I live outside Dublin and I really need the car. I need the car for work. Like, I need it for gigs. I'm in and out nearly every day. So, but you passed one. You passed the breathalyzer.
Yeah, I passed one once when I'd had a few whiskies at a gig and had been drinking the weekend like before and hadn't had much sleep. I passed one. I don't know how. So it's not like a perfect system. But again, that was another one of those things, and I've never drank and drive since.
I've had so many mates get done the next morning.
Yeah, that happens. Didn't it happen to a few footballers as well?
I think that's the killer of the whole lot. The next morning.
Yeah.
How else am I going to get me breakfast roll?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was supposed to get to Centra. Walk.
It's one of those catch-22 situations because you need the breakfast roll to sober you up.
The few times I would do it, it would be like...
Have done it, not would do it. Have done it.
The few times I have... yeah.
Just out here hanging ourselves.
Yeah. We're probably going to cut all this anyway, knowing Philip.
So for anybody who, we record a lot on the Temple Bar podcast, and then Winner sends it to me, and then I go, no, we have to cut half that.
Well, and I cut some stuff as well, but mostly Philip.
We're trying to cancel ourselves one episode at a time.
Yeah. But the few times that I have drank and drive, it would be just like getting me car from the pub up to the house at 3 and 4 in the morning. There's no one around. Like, it's what you think is a calculated risk, but it doesn't make it right. And if something happened, it would be hard to live with yourself. So
just don't ever do it.
Don't ever drink and drive, folks. There was the Celtic Tiger, and now what do they call the tech boom? There's a name for that, no?
Really?
Yeah, isn't it called the Celtic? Well, there's been a tech boom in Ireland. So basically, to rebuild the economy, Ireland started offering low tax rates to corporations and multinationals. And that coincided with Google and Facebook. And
Apple was 13 billion.
But we don't want that.
No, we don't want it. Keep it.
Keep that.
Hold on to it.
Keep that. You might need that for something else. You might need that to put nets outside your factories in China.
Oh my God.
The man says as he looked that up on an iPhone.
Have you seen that Sheen or Shine or what's the name of the Sheen? Is the name
Sheen,
of the
the
Temu-esque type thing.
Yeah, like,
so
young one gets all her clothes from it.
So are they like evolving too? Because it was Alibaba, then it was AliExpress.
I know, Sheen's a different thing.
Then it was So like Alibaba, AliExpress, what was the
Wish.
other one? Wish.
Wish.
So are Shein and Temu, are they like the same thing?
No, Shein. I think Shein is like an English one. I think Shein is just clothes, as far as I know. Oh,
Okay.
maybe not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I just know that my daughter always gets
But
clothes. from
Temu
Shein.
is Wish and Alibaba.
Temu is like Wish, yeah. And like you go on, like just by mistake, I opened up the app there when I was looking at my phone earlier. I pressed it by mistake because it looks the same as the Audible app, and it gives you a spin. You get €200 free stuff if you spend €50 on all. It's just trying to grab your attention. But I have noticed I haven't got much off Temu now. But I've noticed that the stuff from Temu is better quality than it was from Wish.
Have you seen some of the Wish? Some of the Wish ads were unbelievable.
I don't remember seeing a Wish ad.
Oh, they used to pop up, right? So they used to pop up on my, maybe it was me cookies, but this is madness, right?
Yeah.
So like the Wish ads would be like a football, right? It'd be like like let's say a football set, and then a hairdryer, and then an S&M bondage kit. Like it
They
was,
targeted you, Philip.
no, it wasn't. No. But it was like you'd find it was like mad stuff like that, like a drill set, like a tool set. That I'd never be looking up a tool set.
Yeah.
A tool set, a lawnmower, a table,
Yeah.
like a dog. A
Bed.
variety of dog outfits. Do you know what I mean? Like mad
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like, and I remember thinking this is the rarest stuff.
Probably that's how they try to target you. So they throw all these random things at you, and then the few things you look at, then the next time it'll be more tailored to your.
Yeah. All they'd have to just RoboCop stuff. Just put up
Yeah,
RoboCop,
just put up-
and I'm there.
Murphy's Law. But yeah, it's a good the algorithm and how everyone says that it listens to you and all. It's a great to me it's a great metaphor or analogy for the way that we are choosing our own reality, because we are what you interact with is what the universe gives you, and I think that happens in the what we call reality, and it also happens online. So it's just the duality is collapsing, of course, Philip.
Of course.
But it's
We're going to play a drinking game every week that you hear when we're talking about the dualities collapsing. You have to drink.
yeah. And you have to drink Guinness from the Temple Bar, so it won't be a cheap pursuit. Oh, we didn't. We might have seen our video where we tested the Guinness. We didn't actually do like a list of where was we did the Bose was the best. We agree with that.
Bose was the best pint.
Yeah.
Um,
We thought Merchants Arch was the best pub.
best pub.
Best looking venue.
oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful pub.
We thought the Temple Bar.
O'Riordan's was great crack.
O'Riordan's was great crack. Great crack. We met a couple of people. In there.
Anne and Andy.
Anne and Andy. And then their daughter saw the video and recognised them. And we'd only been talking about their daughter to Anne and Andy. So that's a synchronicity. Duality's collapsing. Drink. And also, so probably the worst point was to Temple Bar, but it was great crack in there.
Yeah.
We met a few Scottish lads, a Scottish lad and his son. And we had a couple of girls from, where were they from?
Were they Galway?
Galway, yeah. And they were sound. We had a good time. And then Bad Bob's, it just devolved into madness.
Yeah, if you've seen the video, Bad Bob's, the video doesn't even cover how bad it was.
Yeah.
It was bad.
We had a lot of, we kind of left the Guinness to the side, went on the whiskies and all sorts. But it was great crack. We saw a few old friends, saw Ray Scully, Shanners, a few other lads.
Ray Scully, future guest on the
Future
podcast.
guest, hopefully. Well, I said it to him when I was drunk and he said yes, so let's hope that he'll still do it. We think we're going to start off with guests like with other lads who do the gigs as well.
From next week, maybe?
From maybe next week. Well, Phillips, you're away
Or
tomorrow.
the week after. Yeah, I'm in Budapest this weekend.
Lovely city. I was there recently. You'll enjoy that.
My house in Budapest,
It's gorgeous. So then we're hoping to start with guests then when we come back, when Phil comes back.
So that's it for part one of the Celtic Tiger episode. The reason it's part one is because we will revisit this. Hopefully we're going to bring on a guest who kind of went through some of the madness in the Celtic Tiger, maybe somewhere up around the top. Like, I want to speak to someone who got a loan of maybe 3 or 4 million.
For a helicopter.
But just someone who got a loan of 3 or 4 million and bought a Ferrari or something.
Yeah. One of the big, what's your man's name out of the Wolf of Wall Street?
One of the Jordan Belfords.
One of the Jordan Belfort fellas. Jordan O. Belford. So if you're enjoying these podcasts, follow us on @thetemplebardpod.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere now. We're on TikTok, Instagram,
YouTube.
Spotify, Apple Pods,
Yeah.
Google Pods, wherever you get your podcasts.
iHeartRadio, all those places. Send us some messages on all those places have a message button that you can send us ideas, thoughts, comments, all that stuff.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify now, there's a little message box, and just write anything to us for the crack.
Well, that's it for episode 11 of the Temple Bard Pod. It's the Celtic Tiger Part 1. Sláinte.